Hi, I'm in New York City's Bryant Park. I thought I'd talk about the last step of the estimation process for metric engine type processes, where we have to determine if we did not meet the requirements for processing window for producing our reports. What do we do? What we need to do is determine, do we need a posting process? Now, it doesn't have to go necessarily directly to a posting process. A simple form of posting process is to simply aggregate transactions for some period of time. Summarization is a simple form of posting processes. Don't have to completely use a master file update where we take yesterday's balances and add new transactions to it. We could aggregate the transactions over some period of time. So simply doing a summarization gets you a pretty good surrogate for what a posting process results will look like. What does it take to figure those things out? Well, you're going to need a sample of data, and in that sample of data you're going to have to determine what the aggregation will look like when you summarize by particular fields, and what's going to be the parameters that will affect that. The number of values in the fields that you've chosen will determine how many balances are created. And as we noted in one of the earliest videos, if you take it's a multiplication factor. The number of possible values in a field times by the values in other fields that are used to aggregate are the things that come to the total number of summarized records that will be used. So you could either do this mathematically by simply knowing the values that will appear in the fields that you're using for your posting key, or you could take a sample of data and run tests against it. Either one will be okay. Then from there, you need to make sure that those fields that you've chosen are going to satisfy the reports that you've laid out, the transactions needed for the balances to be produced. In other words, you can't select detail records against attributes that aren't part of the posting key. You can only use attributes that are part of the posting key or the amounts that are associated with the posting process. So all of that goes along, and there might be some segregation that starts to happen by classes of reports. You might not have a summary structure that will satisfy all of the reports you want to build. You might have to make multiple summary structures. You might have to make multiple posting processes that will allow the systems to aggregate early enough to then produce the reports that you need. What you'll have there is that you'll start to have some gaps between those posting structures that will give you reports that you can't produce in your metric engine, because those fields are not on some posted file, some posted table for those set of transactions. And that's the downside of having to do this. But it's okay to go that route. You'll have reconciliation between those posting files, but yet if it's that as opposed to not being able to produce the reports, or having to produce the reports at some exorbitant cost, this is the way you go manage that. And so you'll do that kind of testing process, see what the reduction is in volumes, and use that against your estimates for producing reports, your performance estimates, to see how does that change the time in which you can produce those reports.